All protocolly observed. I'll be speaking on enhancing the competitiveness of Nigerian products via product quality, packaging, and branding. Can I have this slide? All right. All right, I have about 5 things to talk about, and we'll be looking at case study of 3 countries, one on quality, the other on product, and the other on product packaging, and the other on product branding, and then I'll offer my recommendation, particularly as it relates to supporting non-oil export in Nigeria. Let me talk about the preamble. I'm sure you are familiar with this. Are you familiar with this? Are you familiar with this? I'm sure this is trending all over the world and everybody is responding. I heard over 90 countries on their way to the US to go and negotiate. And something happened last week. I don't know if you noticed. What was Nigerian tariff, by the way? 14%. And in a number of countries in Africa have about 10%. We have Ghana, Morocco, Egypt, I think Ethiopia. About 6 countries have 10%, and Nigeria was 14%, and that was instructive for me because I was asking, why was Nigeria 14%? When I saw the tweet from the US Trade Representative, and talking about the ban Nigeria had in 2015, 25 items that Nigeria had to do something about it. I said, okay, maybe this was the reason why we were 14% rather than 10%, so that we can come to the table to negotiate just like other people, so they can bring us back to 10%. I understand the National Economic Council will be meeting on this, but I have my opinion on it actually on what I think we should do, because if you look at those things on that, that list, I'm sure Tumba will not be happy for them to remove it from that list. Actually, and it's good that Minister of Trade Representative is here on this issue. Because when you look at those products, these are products that Nigeria currently produce anyway, and that's why government actually restricted it. But I would like you to see something, what I call the low-hanging fruit, on that list before I move to the main presentation. Look at this. U.S. import is about $3 trillion. African import from the U.S. import from Africa is just about 40 billion. So roughly about 1%. 1%. So if African trade in terms of export to the US is about 1%, why should we be worried about whatever tariff is being given to us? I think we should first of all, as recommended by the former speaker, to do what we need to do locally with power, with infrastructure, to be able to enhance our competitiveness before we even begin to negotiate anything. Because this right now, US can do without us. The whole of African trade is about 2.5%, by the way. So don't be surprised at this, that the whole of African export to the US, the largest importer in the world, is just about $40 billion. Therefore, Nigeria, we're very more familiar with this. The fact that 75 crude oil, about 15 gas. So about 90% of exports is crude oil and gas. And if you expand that to see the others, crude oil and gas, this is generally Nigerian export, but this is also particular to the US. Nigerian export is about $60 billion. So 10% of Nigerian export is going to be US, and about 90% of that is crude oil and gas. If you expand this smaller part, all right, so you can see the fertilizer, raw lead, perfume plant, cocoa, constituting the major component of Nigerian exports to the US. That's non-oil. So this should be our interest anyway, because from here we can be able to create a lot of jobs and of course grow earnings. But you notice this is just about 504. Remember the other one is about what? 6.3 billion. But this just less than a billion, less than 1 billion. And this should be the focus, and which I believe the Regional Banking Committee is having this. Now, if you look at the next slide, every country in the world receives foreign direct investment, get effects into the country through FDI, FPI, trading goods, trading services, remittances, and others. There's something I discovered about our country, and it's good CBN is here. I feel rather than what someone called the tyranny of the all, we should engage the genius of the hand. What I mean by that is, most of the time we make a lot of policy, which is why this kind of problem was recommended. That's not together for bankers committee, by the way. Because we talk a lot about foreign direct investment and foreign portfolio investment, because this money can come in early. But we don't talk a lot about trading goods and trading services. By the way, trading goods and services is about 33 trillion, according to United Nations Trade Department. 33 trillion. And about 7 trillion of that is services. That means 26 trillion is trading goods. So meaning, and do you know the interesting about this? We don't have control over foreign direct investment. We don't have control over foreign portfolio. We don't have control over remittances. Someone will have to decide that they are going to send that money to Nigeria, right? But we have control over what? Trading goods and what? Because we decide that we want to trade. We decide that we want to trade, meaning we can actually grow trade in Nigeria by doing a lot within the trading goods and trading services. So, and now, if we are trying to do trading goods and trading services, but before then, look at the next slide. Have you seen the decline? This foreign direct FDI inflow, capital inflow into Nigeria, capital inflow, both foreign direct and foreign portfolio. Have you seen the decline over time? Because of a lot of, it's about perception of our economy. Now, I'm sure Otumba will be happy to see this. Look at the social market. This is 2015, right? 2015, and it has not changed largely. Total trade in the world at that time, remember start trading now is about what? Trading goods about what? I mentioned it just now. 26 trillion. Total trade in the world is what? 33 trillion. At that time, it was about 18 trillion. Look at manufactured goods. So who are those making money in trade in the world? Who are those making money? That's why we can't stay with agric. We can't stay with fuel, which we can't say we're not going to do anything about it. We can continue, but we need to focus a lot on what? Production and manufacturing and value addition. But more importantly is the next statistics I want to show you. More importantly, look at this. You notice something about this. You can see primary product, intermediate product, consumer and capital. Then you see here agric, natural resources and manufacturing. Manufacturing there represents intermediate, consumer goods and capital. When you discover it, because of the challenges, because of the drive towards sustainability in the world, sustainability drive about the environment, there's a lot of talks around the impact of manufacturing on the environment. So the developed countries do not want to bring primary commodity to their country again, most of them. So, but add value in your country, but not to finished goods. To what? Intermediate. So that means from cocoa to cocoa butter, not to chocolate. From shea to shea butter, from lead to lead ingot. And that's why you can see that intermediate products have been on the rise, which is still good for us, because then we are still adding value and creating jobs rather than doing the commodity, just sending it out. And you can see it there also. So if we're talking about sustainability, if we're talking about value addition, it's also important that if we really want to grow FX inflow, then we need to be strategic on the product that is of interest to us. We don't necessarily have to make it finish. We can also consider the intermediate good, because that's where the demand actually lies. Now, let's move on to the main conversation. I'll start with product quality. On product quality, I'll be looking at Malaysia. Quality encompasses a range of factors that determine a product's suitability for its intended purpose and its ability to meet the expectation of the buyer. If you look at the next chart, you see different elements of product quality. Performance. How well the product performs its intended function. Reliability. The consistency of the product performance over time. Durability. The product lifespan and resistance to wear. Serviceability, the ease of maintenance and repair of the product. Aesthetics, the visual appeal and design of the product, including the color, shape, and overall look. Features, additional attributes that enhance the product appeal or usability. Perceived quality, the customer's perception and reputation of the brand based on intangible factors. Conformance, the degree to which the product meets the established standard and safety, the product quality to operate, the product ability to operate without causing harm to the user or environment. Now, if you look at this, when you say a product is of good quality, this is what we're talking about. It all depends on what the buyer wants. For example, if I'm exporting solid minerals, some buyer prefer low-grade solid minerals. Some buyer prefer high-grade solid minerals. When I mean high-grade, I'm talking about purity of the product. Depending on what individual business, company, or country desire, that determines what the quality is. Now that had a major concern about quality in terms of rejection of product from Nigeria. And if you look at that list, you notice the topmost product there was sesame seed. Sesame seed, about 186 rejection between 2014 and 2023. This according to NAFDAC. They received the feedback from different partners or countries around the world. You have there dry beans, you have melon, you have granite. But for others, you have very few rejection. And NAFDAC is trying to do a lot in this regard. Here you can see the different countries where this rejection happened. And then the reason for this, according to NAFDAC, is because of excess aflatoxin, high level of pesticide residue and heavy metal, high level of veterinary drug residue, contamination of food produce with salmonella and other microbe, and high count of E. coli and absence of mandatory health certificate. There was a particular case that was reported about our beans, and which is why it's recommended that when you're eating beans now, it's good you parboil and decant the water. You know why? Because of pesticide residues. There's a pesticide residue being used called diclovers. And ours is a lot higher because there is no control. You know, we eat some of these things, right? And sometimes we just see increased hazard in our society. But in some of these countries, they're going to test this product before they enter their country, and they're going to check if it's of the right quality. And this explains the reason why Nigerian beans was banned. And by the way, people are still exporting beans, but they will ship by road to Ghana. But they won't export the one that have pesticide. Now there are organic pesticide they can use. Ship by road to Ghana and then ship it out through Ghana. Why? Because Nigeria is banned. So they are still running beans from Nigeria, only that it can't go from Nigeria, it must go through other countries. And I know the government also is working on this. Product quality. Now let's look at Malaysia. So this I wanted us to use case studies so that we can see whatever we are trying to do, other countries have done it. And they did it and did it very well. And I'll show you the data, the impact of what they did. You will have heard the story about how Malaysia came into Nigeria to come and pick seedling. It's a true story. I was in Edo State the other time. A lady was telling me about where they picked it up in Edo State. And he been to Malaysia and saw them written on the wall in one of the institutes. How they came to pick up this seed in Nigeria and how much they are currently making from palm oil. How much they are currently making from palm oil. They're really very serious, and they did a lot on palm oil, and today they are making money. And that's just one product. The interesting thing about Nigeria is that farmers are more than 70% of our farmers are peasants. It's been said that we have not used up to half of our arable land, and we have about 10-50% post-harvest loss according to FAO. But despite this shortcoming, Nigeria is one of the largest producers of most especially agri commodities. In spite of the shortcoming, meaning if we get serious, you can imagine what we can do. Now, there's a particular product that is always of interest to me, and the product is called soya beans. Soya beans. We talk a lot about cocoa, right? Cocoa demand in the world is just about $12 billion. Cocoa beans demand in the world, and West Africa supply about 75% of that. But soya beans, one product, the demand in the world is almost $100 billion. And China is buying about 60% of that. And I ask myself, we do a lot of trade with China, right? Why can't we have an agreement with China? After all, China is having issues with the US now. US supply most of this product to China. And I'm sure China is looking for other places to ship to and to buy product. Why can't we have an agreement with China and decide, okay, we want to focus on one or two products? I'm talking about generating effects that we can generate, even if it's 10%. This year, total export volume, according to NEPC, non-oil export, $4.2 billion. Sorry, $5.2 billion total non-oil export. And two products is driving that value. Two products. And not because of effort on our side, but market dynamics. So, petrochemical, fertilizer, and cocoa. Cocoa was because there was increase in price of cocoa from about 3,500 to about 10,000 plus. And then fertilizer. Dangote refinery is working and now is contributing to export from Nigeria. So you see that even though we have about 20% increase in non-oil export, it wasn't because of any effort on our part, but rather what the market dynamics is. So let's look at this story about this country, Malaysia. Malaysia has been a dominant force in the global palm oil export market. However, it has faced increasing competition and scrutiny regarding quality and sustainability. To maintain its competitiveness, the Malaysian palm oil industry had to focus on quality enhancement. So what did they do? Look at the challenges. Quality variation was one challenge. Number two was sustainability concern, which is a big deal in the world today. Number three was increasing competition, particularly for Indonesia, their neighbor, and a number of other countries around the world. And negative perception, that negative campaign from the Western countries, which have had negative impact on the perception of Malaysian palm oil. So look at what they did. Now, Malaysia decided to have the following strategy. Number one, research and development. Ongoing research and development effort focus on palm oil quality developments. Improve processing and refining. And by the way, I saw BOA sign an agreement recently. I'm just going to say it right. On refinery for palm oil in Nigeria. Quality control measures. Implementation of MSPO, that's Malaysian Sustainable Palm Oil Certification Scheme. Sustainable Palm Oil Certification Scheme. So decide to create an agency to certify the product before I leave the country and publicize what they are doing for the world to see. And of course, emphasis on traceability. And look at the impact. Emphasis on traceability. Okay, so the result, improved reputation. Effort to address sustainability concerns have helped improve the reputation of Malaysian palm oil. Improve reputation, as a result of this effort, improve quality. As a result of this effort, improve competitiveness. The focus on quality has facilitated development of value-added palm oil and enhance market access. So you can see exactly what the challenges are and what exactly was done to be able to solve that problem. Now, look at what happened at the end of the day. Can you see what Malaysia is doing? About 30%. What is the demand for palm oil? About 48 billion. And Malaysia is doing what? About 30% because of the effort that they made. What's the key learning point from this? The key learning point from this, sustainability is a quality factor in our world today. Sustainability is a quality factor. Number two, certification builds trust. Certification builds trust. Number three, continuous improvement is essential. And lastly, transparency and traceability. Everybody wants to know, like the beans I talk about, where is that beans coming from? Because when we can trace it, then we can solve the problem. If we can't trace it, which is why you can't want to export and go to go and buy what you want to buy. There must be a traceability, a way to trace. Even as a manufacturer, you want to know, this particular product created a defect, where is it coming from? And we fix, it becomes a lot easier to be able to fix that problem. The second story is on packaging. It's on packaging. And which country am I talking about here? We are looking at Colombia and we are looking at coffee. Packaging. Packaging international trade goes far beyond containing a product. It plays a critical role in ensuring goods reaches the destination safely, efficiently, and in a way that meets expectation. In fact, people are going to see the product before they eat the product, right? Am I right? Yeah. That means it must be attractive to them. It must be attractive to them. It must be attractive. I'm an exporter, and I export pap. And the pap I export to the UK is sold at a higher price, a little than others. And the only reason why we could do that is because of what? Packaging. Because of the way people perceive the product. Packaging. Colombia coffee. Now, what are the challenges? Preserving the aromatic quality of the coffee to destination. Number two, maintaining the freshness of the coffee. And number three, building brand differentiation. So what did they do? Higher barrier packaging. They came up with higher barrier packaging. then vacuum packaging and nitrogen flushing, then airtight and resealable packaging, premium packaging design, and again, traceability and certification labeling. Traceability and certification labeling. What was the impact of this? Number one, enhance product quality, improve packaging, ensure the Colombian coffee arrive at destination with its aroma and enhancing customer satisfaction. Then, because of the quality, they could price it well. Premium pricing, high quality packaging and branding allow Colombian coffee to command premium price for the international market. Then increase market access because of the packaging. Strong brand reputation, differentiation and competitive edge, increase customer trust, and in 5 years there will be about 100% growth in the market and in the sales and demand for these products in the world. Key takeaway: packaging is a critical factor in preserving the quality and value of Colombian coffee in the export market. Number two, investing in high quality packaging material and technology can enhance the product quality and extend shelf life. And number three, packaging design. Packaging design play a vital role in building brand reputation and differentiating the product in the international market. And the traceability and certification label enhance customer confidence and drive trust. So look at what happened to the demand. Because of the demand and how they grew, they are now holding a good chunk of the market in the world. About 70.5% of the market is now in the hand of Colombia. And remember, the market is about $42 billion, $42.7 billion. Now, product branding. Branding international market is the strategic process of creating, managing, and a distinct and recognized identity of product and service. Now, what's interesting about this is about New Zealand, and get the product in question, honey. And how they branded the honey, because of the popularity of the honey, Akuna honey, how they branded the honey and how they're able to grow the volume, how they became competitive and grow the volume in the export market. New Zealand Makuna honey has achieved remarkable success in global export market, not just due to its unique properties, but through strategic and effective branding. What were the challenges of this product? Differentiation. Honey is a common product, and New Zealand needed to distinguish Makuna honey from the generic honey. Nigeria have a unique product. A lot of countries produce ginger, but it is said that Nigerian ginger is a lot better than many ginger in the world. But we are not branding it to present that narrative. Building premium value. Makuna honey unique medicinal properties warranted a premium price, but this needed to be communicated to justify this pricing to the consumer. Combating counterfeiting. The high value of Makuna honey made it successful to counterfeiting, strengthening the brand integrity and consumer trust, and then maintaining authenticity. It is vital to protect the authenticity of Makuna honey brand and its connection to the New Zealand. Now, the strategy for branding. Number one, scientific validation. And this is very important. Scientific validation. The industry invested heavily in scientific research to validate the unique medicinal property of Makuna honey. You can't claim a therapeutic value of a product without a scientific backing. So if you are going to say this product is doing this, sometimes you see some products you say in Nigeria, you can do this, they don't go in shape, all sort of. There's nothing to prove. What they did was to scientifically prove that this is what this honey is capable of doing. This scientific backing provided credibility and justified the premium. Unique grading system, unique Makuna factor grading system was developed to provide consumers with standardized measures of honey potency. This system built trust and transparency, allowing the consumer to make informed purchasing decisions. Then, Pure New Zealand branding. The brand was strongly associated with New Zealand's pristine environment and natural landscape. The pure and natural image resonated with the consumer seeking high-quality, authentic product. There's something we need to do about our products in Nigeria, and it's the issue of branding. The fact that we need to sell narrative. Pasta is an Italian delicacy, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Today, all of us, from noodles to macaroni to spaghetti, but this is an Italian delicacy. But today, we are eating it. We can do the same for maybe amala, maybe tuwo, a product in Nigeria, and it's all about branding and the narrative behind the message of this product. And then the world buys into it. And this is exactly what New Zealand has done for honey. The distinctive package, Makuna honey product are packaged in premium containers with elegant design that reflect the product high value. The packaging often features imagery of New Zealand native Makuna trees and landscape. Traceability and authenticity. Do you notice something about the 3 case studies? What do you notice? Traceability is a big issue. It's a big issue. It's a big issue. And if there is one thing we have big challenges in Nigeria, it's traceability. Traceability, because of the way we do farming. Traceability. Traceability and authenticity measures. Robust stability systems were implemented to track Makuna honey from the shelf, ensuring authenticity and preventing counterfeiting. The use of authentication label, and other security features were also implemented. Then strategic marketing and storytelling. What is the story behind our product? You know, they already know Nigeria for something and it's bad. I mean, even though it's not only Nigeria, the internet fraud, but we've had a lot of news, and which is why sometimes, you know, it's good to tweet good things about Nigeria. Sometimes when there are bad news, we find it easy to tweet, right? But when there are good news, people are reluctant to tweet good news about Nigeria. And unfortunately, it's what we are tweeting that the world is seeing. It's what we are tweeting the world is seeing. If you're international trade, you understand the way we've been profiled and the stereotypes, such that even if you are trying to get a buyer and you send a message abroad, sometimes they ignore your message. Why? Because it's from abroad. In fact, even when you do ad, and then the ad, someone showed interest, and then Meta sent the message to your phone and you chatted, if you chatted a +234, you're not going to get a response. Why are you not getting a response? We are frustrated until you prove otherwise. That's the profile. But we can change the narrative, because some of these countries we call developed country, if you go online, you see some other side of those countries, but they don't paint those pictures for us. Some of you travel, you see some of these things. They don't paint those pictures for us. So we also must have the right narrative about Nigeria. Marketing campaign focus on the unique story of Makuna honey. It's traditionally used by Maori people and its scientific benefit. This created an emotional connection with the consumer and build brand loyalty, because that's the goal. Brand loyalty. In 5 years, 100% increase. Impact include premium pricing, effective branding allow Makuna honey to command premium price. Number 2, strong brand recognition. The Makuna honey brand became synonymous with high quality, authentic honey from New Zealand and increased export volume. The industry saw significant growth and export revenue driven by strong demand for premium Makuna honey. Consumer trust and loyalty, transparency, traceability, and scientific validation build customers' trust and loyalty. Competitive advantage. Strong brand loyalty provided a significant competitive advantage in global market. And guess what? This country is the largest exporter of honey in the world. 12%. Look at the market size of honey, 2.18 billion. 12% of that market is in the hand of one country. Imagine the number of people that have been hired down the value chain. You know, 1 billion now in Nigeria is how much? $1 billion. 1.5 trillion, right? 1.5 trillion. $1 billion. And this country is having about 12.2%. Key learning point from New Zealand. Key learning point from New Zealand. Branding is more than logo. It's about creating a compelling story and building a strong brand identity. Scientific validation builds credibility, support claims with scientific evidence, enhance consumer trust. Authenticity is paramount. Maintain authenticity is crucial for premium products, and packaging and design communicate value. Premium packaging reinforces the perception of high quality. Traceability builds trust. Transparency and traceability again enhance customers' confidence. So here's my proposal for country Nigeria. We have what it takes to be able to grow Nigerian export volume. And it's important that, when we start drive like this, sometimes the tempo goes up. When the dollar rate is coming and we have a lot of effort, the tempo goes down. Now, oil price about $50-$55 per barrel is coming down because of what is happening in the world. So now there seems to be a renewed interest that we must. Sometimes like when it goes up, we don't see the need to divert the economy again. But immediately the rate comes down, we're having issue with our budget, and it seems as if we begin to think of it. And I think we can just do it once and for all. Leave it in the hand of the private sector, even if oil goes up or down. I think it's high time Nigeria really focus and do a lot about the non-oil export in Nigeria. Nigeria can learn several important lessons from export growth experience of Malaysia, New Zealand, and Colombia, particularly in the area of improving branding and improving area of quality improvement, branding, and packaging. And here are the key takeaways. Now, number one, you see, establish and enforce standard. Enforce standard. NAFDAC started doing something after this, Madam, I've forgotten her name now. No. The new Professor Adeyeye, right? Adeyeye, yes. She really, you can see, I've been at different programs that she attended, and she can see her seriousness about this. And what I noticed? Everybody has started conforming. Because now, for you to export any food from Nigeria, you must have NAFDAC. Now, that is making everybody to either partner with the factory that have NAFDAC to export, or you go and get it yourself. Because people that have been able to export before without NAFDAC, now, when they get to the port, the customer is not allowing the goods to go. So, establishing and enforcing quality standards. Number two, invest in research and development. And this can help improve agricultural practice, particularly from the source, some of the products from the source. There are some products that if the post-harvest handling is poor, no matter what the manufacturer do, is garbage in, garbage out, because of what happened after the good was harvested. After they were harvested, what was done to it? What post-harvest handling? Number three, focus on sustainable practice. We can't escape this. We definitely cannot escape this. This is becoming a big issue in the world, and it's becoming a major challenge for businesses. It's something that must be done because that's where the world is going. And lastly, capacity building for farmers so that they know exactly what to do. If a farmer knows that, look, if you don't do the right thing and someone buys the product from you and then the product was sent back from the port, the buyer will not come to you again. Everybody will go to people that are doing it the right way. Everybody will indirectly fall in line. Because nobody is going to come to you to buy, because your product is not of the right quality. If you look at one of the videos that have been shown when we came in about someone mentioned issue around hibiscus flower. You saw the video, right? Some of us that came in early. Hibiscus flower. Mexico banned hibiscus flower for some years. Why? Because they saw, sometimes we overlook some things in Nigeria. When you see some products, someone will say, we can manage it like that now. Is it not to make you manage them now? That's small thing now. But as far as the buyer is concerned, this is the problem. They saw tiny white ants in the container. And know what they did? Close the container, discard the product, and that action of that one person affected all other exporters of that product to Mexico for years. Until with the effort of NEPC and the government push, the issue were resolved. But they now have to ensure that they create a community among the exporter of hibiscus and ensure certification in Kano before the product will leave Nigeria, just to solve that problem. And they've solved it now, and now people can ship the products, and everybody is happy. But it affected us for some years. But they have to train. They have to work with the embassy in Nigeria of the Mexican embassy. So train our people and ensure that quality is confirmed. If we are going to be able to export and do this sustainably in our country, we definitely must take quality issue very seriously. Let's look at Colombian coffee export growth. Innovation and sustainable packaging. Nigeria should invent innovative packaging solutions that preserve product quality. It's good that the Ministry of Trade is here. SME does not need, I don't need to be worried about how my product will be packaged. I went There was a time Nigerian British Chamber of Commerce took us on a trade mission to UK and we went to Leicester. We saw a factory in Leicester. What was this factory doing? The factory is built in a way that either you are doing products that involve frying or milling or drying. All I need, so let's say I'm a plantain chip producer. I want to produce plantain chips. I will bring in my plantain chip to this factory. You know what the factory will do? They will peel it, they will slice it, they will dry it, they will fry it, they will package it. In 2 weeks, I'll come back and pick a fully ready plantain for the market. So when you look at the value chain, research and development, production, manufacturing, export and sales, I focus more on research and development in terms of specification, in terms of the constituent, in terms of all I want them to use in the frying, and then I focus on marketing and export. You see that production, someone has taken it off me, so I don't have to worry about that because it's a big factory already having certification. Therefore, they do the production of the packaging and packaging. So when I come, I basically come to pick up finished goods. Now, do you know what this will do to SME in Nigeria? That and we can do this for 2, 3, 4 products that we know can drive job creation, and we're already producing them in large quantity so that we can increase the production. So an SME does not need to worry about NAFTA, worry about power, worry about most of the things that big companies worry about. But at the end of it, the SME is creating job on this side and also helping us to drive export market. It's not worrying about most of those issues. Why? Because the government, and this was a public-private sector initiative. So it was through a public-private sector, but the government had interest. The government funded and government had interest in the arrangement, but it was likely driven by private sector. And this can be done for different products that Nigeria is exporting. Innovative and sustainable packaging. Educate the consumer on quality. Implement educational programs to help consumers understand the importance of packaging in maintaining product quality, thus increasing their willingness to pay premium for well-packaged products. Adapt to market preference. Adapt to market preference. Conduct thorough market research to understand the global packaging trend and customer preference, ensuring that the products are attractive and suitable for specific markets, and utilize packaging as a branding tool. Packaging can serve as a critical component of branding. Nigeria should design packaging that do not only protect the product, but also tell the story and resonate with the consumer. Lesson from New Zealand. What do we have to learn from New Zealand? Developing a unique brand identity. Nigeria can benefit from creating a strong brand identity that highlights the unique characteristics of actual products, and including cocoa and others. There's something I discovered about international trade. No matter what you think about the country, if you begin to use their product and the product is serving you, your impression changes about them. Am I making sense? We use whatever you want to say about China, it doesn't matter, or about Russia. When you use their product, and the product speaks a lot about the people. The product speaks a lot about the people. And as long as the buyer in that country is getting value, you keep bringing it in and distributing it. And so, meaning with export, we can actually change the impression of the world about Nigeria just by exporting. We don't need to spend money on publicity. Let's publicize through our products, because they can now see productivity in the country. I thought this country is known for this. Are you sure? In fact, something happened some times ago. There was this cashew nut from Nigeria, produced in Nigeria, and a Nigerian who imported about 4 containers of plantain chips from Costa Rica, a Nigerian in the UK, was trying to introduce the cashew nut, was trying to bring cashew nut from Nigeria to this particular British guy. And the guy saw it and said, "Where's brought from?" He said, "Guess." He was mentioning my colleague. He said, "You don't think I'll be from Nigeria?" I said, "Nigeria. Can Nigeria produce something like this?" Cashew nut. Cashew nut. Produced, have been produced in Nigeria for many years, that you see installed. But in their mind, this country nothing good can come from this country. No, but sincerely, when you travel now, you see what I'm talking about. You see the way they literally strip you sometimes in the airport. As in, you literally, the kind of what you go through in some airport, just because you are carrying green passport. That impression, I'm telling you, with trade, we can create the right narrative. Because then they will begin to see something different about the country because of our productivity. Marketing and promotion strategy. Invest in marketing campaigns that effectively communicate the story and benefit of Nigerian products. Utilizing digital marketing and social media can help reach a broader audience. Leverage cultural heritage. Tapping into Nigerian cultural and cultural heritage can enhance product branding, making them more appealing to consumers looking for authenticity and quality, and partnership and collaboration, foster collaboration between local producer and marketer and exporters. We need to do something about partnering with Nigerian diaspora. I've traded, I've shipped to China, I've exported to China, to UAE, to UK, to US and Canada. And all these locations, I always try to get a representative. And I always find Nigerians in those countries who I work with in similar business in those countries. And I realize that Japa is a blessing if we look into export. Because they are not just creating markets by buying what we sell. They can also help in market development because they live there and they can represent us. And the reason why, if you are familiar with international trade, one of the payment methods is open account. Open account generally is risky because it means you ship the goods arrive at destination and payment come after. So many people don't want to do that, particularly SME. But 85% of global trade, 33 trillion, of which trade in goods is 26 trillion. 85% of that is open account. But how is the business in the world, how are they able to do it instead of the risk of this payment method? Because most of them have what? Representative in the export market. So with Japa happening, when we say Japa, how many people have left Nigeria? They're not much now. I'm serious. The only painful thing is the skill they're taking away. But if you look at the number, we need them. India is doing it. India is doing it deliberately. Philippines are doing it deliberately. Because of the what? Remittances. Coming back. It's a deliberate effort to export the people, to render their services abroad and send back the capital back to Nigeria. I mean, the purchasing power back to Nigeria. So deliberate effort in some countries to do it. And what that does for them is it builds capacity. But more importantly, and this is why you will find in Europe, for example, who are those selling African food? No. Majority, Asians. The next time you're in UK, there is this particular place. Thank you. There's a particular store called, oh my God, I can't remember. Very big store. That store is so massive. There's something you will not find in Nigeria. I can't remember the last time I saw Tura soap. Wow. It's in that store. I'm serious. It's in that store. Some products that are not very common, but some Nigeria have been Nigeria many years ago. So they are still used to that product. And you see them in this store. This store is so massive. Owned by who? Asians. And what they've done is to be able to have that kind of partnership. Some Asians in Nigeria are shipping those products to Asians abroad. And they are able to leverage on our population. I saw another product is jollof rice. Jollof rice. This jollof rice can last for 1 year. Already cooked. Jollof rice, but when you check the back, you see made in India. And you see in front, you see come home to Nigeria. It's amazing. Made in India. In front, come home to. So apparently, they made it in India to target Nigerian in the UK. Just see the branding. Come home to Nigeria. Because they make jollof rice, we jollof rice. But now, they are marketing it like their own, even though they are targeting Nigeria. General recommendation as I round off because of my time. Government support. The government should create policy that supports quality improvement, branding and packaging, initiative, providing incentive for exporter and local producer. Incentive is so critical. Incentive, we have the export expansion grant, but quite frankly, it's not been very good. CBN started something called RT200 FX. And that incentive, CBN will pay every quarter. You don't need to follow up. Just submit your documentation and you get the payment. But expansion grant, NBC needs budget. And if it's not in the budget, NBC cannot pay. So if we really, and it's not just Nigeria paying, supporting export expansion. Different countries, even China is doing the same. Different countries are supporting export. With all this that is happening, look at what China is doing. China is telling all the provinces, you must give single digit to your people, but more importantly, you must give them export credit insurance. You know why? They need to go to other markets. They need to reduce because the over dependence on America is being taken advantage of by Trump. So look for other markets. Now, because those markets will be risky, right? So we give you export credit insurance to insure your export profits. That means if you ship into that country and your payment did not come, government is going to pay you. Just imagine the initiative because they are so desperate, they must find another market and reduce their dependence on the US. And whatever government needs to do to support, they are doing it, both in funding continue to increase because they can't afford for those production to stop. It must not stop. Because if it stops, you know the implication, right? Job loss in those countries. Collaboration across sectors, encourage partnership among farmers, processors, exporters, and government bodies to align effort in enhancing competitiveness across agricultural value chain. And lastly, investing in training. One of the biggest challenges in Nigeria is capacity building. Can you guess how many importers we have in Nigeria? Just guess, importer. Guess how many? Just guess. Eh? How many importers? A guess now, you don't have anything to lose. Eh? More than 10,000. 1,000. I said more than 10,000. Someone say 1,000. Million. No, it's not 50 million. 30 to 50,000. Now, guess how many exporters we have in Nigeria? Nigerian population is over 200, right? Even though we have not done census for about 2 decades. So I'm sure probably, how many exporters do you think are in Nigeria? You must be a prophet. As at the last check, according to Nigerian Promotion Council, number of persons in Nigeria is just about 1,200. If we add the legal to it, 1,005. 1,005. We cannot grow non-oil export in Nigeria without increasing the number of exporters. You know why? The big companies have reached their peak. So if a company is exporting $1 million, $2 million in a year, that's the peak. So that means every year we're doing is $1 million, $2 million. If we don't increase the number of businesses exporting, we cannot increase the number we are looking for as far as export volume is concerned. UK is population about 70 million people. UK exporter is about 140,000. More than 140,000 businesses in about 70 million people. US is over 300 million businesses, 300,000 businesses in about over 300 million people. In Nigeria, we are over 200 million and we can't boast of 2,000 active exporters. So if we want to grow export, we cannot underestimate the role of capacity building for businesses to get them export ready and of course support them in the export business. As I close, I would like to say to everyone, if the non-export sector in Nigeria is going to become competitive and grow, there is need for central bank, NEPC, Federal Ministry of Trade and Investment, Federal Ministry of Agriculture, exporter and banker. We must learn the result-oriented mindset of the Malaysians, the resilient mindset of the Colombians, and the resolute mindset of the New Zealand. Thank you very much.